Another week has come and gone. More basketball is in the books. That means it's time for your weekend recap here on WBAG Sports. I'll take you through all the scores from Friday night's game, give you an update of the conference standings as we prepare for a brand new week here in Alamance County. It's time to get off the bench.
It's time to get off the bench with WBAG Sports, Alamance County's premier sports coverage since 1947.
Welcome in to another edition of WBAG Sports Off the Bench. As always, thank you so much for joining us out there, watching along with us. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Leave a like and a comment down in the comment section. Help us continue to grow the page here on WBAG Sports as we continue to bring you in-depth Alamance County sports coverage. The video today, as always, is presented by the good people over at For All Occasions, 3266 South Church Street in Burlington. Make sure you stop in, tell them WBAG Sports sent you. They've got everything you need to make those occasions extra special. And men, I'm talking to you. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. They've got wine, they've got gifts, they've got seasonal decorations, snacks, goodies, beer if you like. And most importantly, they'll wrap it all up nice and neat in a perfect presentation like they've done behind me here. You see what they can do for us at WBAG Sports. Let them take care of you and help take the stress out of your shopping this season. Once again, 3266 South Church Street in Burlington. Tell them WBAG Sports sent you. It is time, folks, for another weekend recap. I'll take you through the scores, update the conference standings. Like I said, we had a huge week last week, and we're headed into an even bigger one here in Alamance County this week. We'll do like we did last week, or in the midweek video last week. We'll update the scores, go through all the games, and then throw the updated conference standings on the screen at the end. Go over those and talk you through them. Let's jump right into it. We'll start with Friday's games. We'll start with the Western Alamance traveling to meet the Williams Bulldogs. The Lady Warriors were able to get themselves back in the win column, 62-50 over the Bulldogs. Williams still chasing that elusive first conference victory. Western, however, picks up their second conference win, moves them to 2-3 overall in conference play. After dropping 3 straight conference games, they're able to bounce back nicely against the Lady Bulldogs. Western also knocked off North Carolina School of Math and Science on Thursday, so they're technically riding a 2-game winning streak headed into a matchup with Southern on Tuesday night. A big week for the Lady Warriors. They're continuing to try and fight and get their footing underneath them as they look to bounce back and make another run into the playoffs. The Lady Bulldogs did have 3 players get in double figures on Friday night, led by Salem Hatfield with 20 points, 13 from Maddie Harris and 14 from Aaliyah Scott. But those only one other Bulldog scored in the rest of the game, so just 4 total members of that team scoring points. Just fell a little bit short. Wasn't enough total production as they'll try again for conference win number 1. They play Person on January 20th. The varsity boys team of Williams, they were able to stop their 2-game skid on Friday night, picking up an 84-50 win over Western. Williams gets their 10th win of the season, 4th win in conference, and again they stopped a 2-game skid as they were able to put the train back on the tracks. No surprises as Bubba Sims and Colby Elliott led the way for Williams. Sims had 22, Elliott had 17. Isaiah Long scored 16 of his own to help put the Bulldogs over the top on Friday night. They continued their strong offensive ways, again scoring over 80 points, but more importantly, Williams was able to get on the right path defensively on Friday, only giving up 50 to Western. Camden Oliveira was the leader for the Warriors. He scored 13, but they couldn't really find anyone else to help him and get their offense going. Loss drops them to 5-7 overall on the year, 3-3 in conference play. Person traveled back into Mebane this Friday for a trip down to Southeast to face off against the Stallions, and the Lady Stallions continued to prove their dominance. 57-19, the victory over the Lady Rockets. They moved to 16-0 on the year, 5-0 in conference play, and it was another defensive clinic for this Southeast team. They held Person scoreless in the first quarter. Ariana Johnson had her usual 17 points, but the rest of the scoring for Southeast was spread out through the entire roster. 10 players scored on Friday night for Southeast. This win sets up the biggest game of the year so far for the Lady Stallions on January 20th at Eastern Alamance. It'll be a battle for first place in the conference. Both of those teams going into Tuesday night undefeated in conference play, and it is going to be a good one. The winner will be in sole possession of first place in the Mid-Carolina 4-5-6A conference. Person drops to 4-10 on the year, 1-3 in conference play. They prepare for a trip to Williams on Tuesday night. On the boys' side of this matchup, the Stallions again able to keep themselves in winning ways and undefeated in conference play. The boys move to 6-0 with a victory on Friday night. Similar to the girls, it was another defensive clinic, another strong defensive outing for Southeast, giving up just 53 points in their 77-53 victory. And exactly like the girls, this victory sets up another game of the year against Eastern Alamance, a battle again for first place in the conference as they travel on Tuesday night to Eastern Alamance. The Battle of Mebane, if you will, between those two teams, both boys and girls fighting for first place in the conference. That's going to be a thrilling matchup. We'll have it for you on WBAG. Person moves to 2-3 in conference play against the conference schedule so far this season with a tough test against Williams on Tuesday night ahead. The Bulldogs again trying to stay in the mix with Eastern and Southeast in atop that conference play, and so that'll be interesting to watch on Tuesday night. Cummings traveled to Southern on Friday night. The Lady Cavs picked up a 66-44 victory, their 9th one of the season, their 3rd one in conference play. They moved to 3-2 overall in the conference. They're continuing to show why I have them pegged as the most improved team of the year in Alamance County in the conference, especially as they have already bested their win total from last year. They didn't win a conference game at all last season. They've managed to win 3 here so far this year. So again, that just evidence as to why I think the Lady Cavs are the most improved team in this conference. The Lady Patriots fall to 1-4 in conference play despite 14 points from Brianna White and 13 from Evelyn Garrison. But again, this Southern team is still very young. They're trying to figure some things out, and they travel to Western on Tuesday where they'll look to do it again and try and get their 2nd conference win of the season. The Southern boys picked up a much-needed conference win, 2nd one of the year, 77-45 over the Cavaliers. They moved to 2-4 in conference play, get their 5th win overall on the year. And as I've mentioned in a few of these videos on the radio broadcast a couple times, Southern has the capabilities. They are now 3-0 on the season when they score over 70. So when that offense clicks, they're a good team that is very dangerous. Cummings still winless in conference play as they'll try to find some offense and a trip to Graham on Tuesday night. Speaking of Graham, they traveled into Mebane to play Eastern Alamance on Friday, and it was another huge night for sophomore Mason Murphy of Eastern. He scored 31 points, had 15 rebounds in the 87-49 victory for the Eagles. They move to 11-3 overall on the year, 5-1 in conference play, and again set up a fantastic matchup for Tuesday night. 5 Eagles in total scored in double figures. Not just Mason Murphy, Hunter Eichmann, Xavier McPherson, Christian Hester, and Jamarius Toney, all along with Murphy, had over 10 points. The 3rd straight game in which the Eagles have scored over 80. They have played very well offensively, and we know they're a good defensive unit as well. They were able to hold the Red Devils under 50 in this one. We mentioned the matchup on Tuesday. Graham has now fallen to 1-5 overall in conference play, 5-9 on the year. They did get 15 points from Michael Woods, 16 from Ladario Johnson, but foul trouble struck kind of early in the second half, and things started to snowball after that. They do have a chance to bounce back against Cummings, as we mentioned. That should be a fun matchup there. Favorable for both of those teams. It'll come down to the wire between Graham and Cummings, but that wraps up all of the basketball that we saw on Friday night. Let's move to the conference standings. We'll start with the girls' side. You can see the graphic there in front of you. Southeast and Eastern Alamance both sit atop the Mid-Carolina 4A, 5A, 6A conference. Both of them 5-0 in conference play. And again, we've teased and talked about they set up a fantastic matchup on Tuesday night. Both undefeated teams. Somebody is going to take their first conference loss on Tuesday night. Cummings sits there in third place, 3-2 overall. Again, talked about their improvement, and it has paid off to the tune of them being in third place all by themselves. Western Alamance in fourth at 2-3 overall, 9-4 on the year. Person, Southern, Williams bringing up the rear, 5, 6, and 7. Person 1-3 in conference play. Southern 1-4. Williams yet to get their first conference victory, as we mentioned. And you see Graham down there again. Will continue to remind you they do not have a girls team, so that is why they are sitting there with NAs in their conference standings. So again, Southeast, Eastern Alamance, Cummings, Western Alamance, Person, Southern Alamance, Williams is the order for the girls' side of things in the Mid-Carolina 4A, 5A, 6A conference. Let's transition now to the boys. You can see how it breaks down. Southeast, as we mentioned, undefeated 6-0, all alone there in first place. Eastern Alamance sits by themselves in second place at 5-1, and those two teams will battle again on Tuesday night. It'll either be a tie for first place or Southeast will remain there all by themselves. Williams sits alone in third, 4-2 overall on the year, 10-3 overall record. They're 4-2 in conference, 10-3 overall. Sorry about that. We mentioned they were able to stop their 2-game skid on Friday night, get their fourth conference win of the year, and position themselves in third all alone. Western Alamance in fourth, 3-3 on the year in conference, 5-7 overall. There in the midst. They are coming off of a loss on Friday night. Person in fifth place at 2-3 overall. Southern 2-4 in conference play on the year. 8-7 the overall record for Person, 5-8 for the Patriots. Graham and Cummings bring up the rear, 1-5 in conference play for the Red Devils. We mentioned 5 wins overall on the year. Cummings still seeking their first conference win, 0-5 to start the season, 2-9 overall. The Red Devils in the midst of a 4-game losing streak, and Cummings battling a 3-game losing streak, as you can see there. That's how the standings break down. That is the weekly recap here on WBAG Sports. As always, thanks for watching. Once again, make sure you smash that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment down in the comment section. Again, continue to help us grow this page here and bring you the most in-depth Alamance County sports coverage here on WBAG Sports.